Hello, everybody, and welcome to Money Matters. If you like making money, enjoy learning about crypto and general investing, please subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy the content, then hit that like button as well. Let's get into it. As usual, this channel is focused on your financial freedom. And as a disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial nor investment advice. If you need such advice, please consult an accredited financial advisor. Let's take a look at the market. It's pretty boring. Things aren't moving too fast and furious, but there's a lot of green as opposed to a lot of red. Bitcoin is still settling between 53 and 57,000. Just a nice little average, nothing too exciting, meandering back and forth. We have yet to even approach or break out of the $60,000 ceiling that we've been set for ourselves. And I think we're kind of looking at about an average $52,000 floor. At least that's the consensus as far as I read. Altcoins in general have started pushing back up after across the board 25% dip. And I think that we'll see them grind to the top until we finally hit an alt season and things start to really take off. Let's take a look at in the news. Word on the street is that Bitcoin ETFs are coming to the United States. How soon, I couldn't tell you, but I think that the pressure is on. If you've noticed, the Biden administration has moved some legislation forward in order to bring up some adoption for cryptocurrency and how to deal with it in a regulated fashion through the government. So I think that we're going to see approval for a Bitcoin ETF relatively soon. It's probably going to be through one of the larger institutions, but after the first one comes through, there'll be a cascading waterfall of them. Interesting note is the very first Bitcoin ETF application was from the Winklevoss twins in 2016, or I'm sorry, 2013. And they actually applied and were granted a patent for selling a financial instrument of that kind because it had never been done before. So they've yet to been granted that ETF, but hopefully they're the first ones since they were the very first ones to actually apply for it. So that's an interesting tidbit of fact there. Let's talk a little about ETFs for those of you who aren't familiar with them. As a general rule, an ETF is basically a fund that a hedge fund or a financial institution puts together to provide exposure to investors in certain industries or certain types of stocks that are correlated strongly together. So, for example, ARK Investments with Cathie Wood, they have a lot of ETFs. In fact, I think that's all they have is ETFs. I own 3 of them, I believe. And some of them, one of them in specific is around technology. They have robotics, they have biomedicine, things like that. And what they'll do is they'll find companies that are super stellar companies they want to invest in and incorporate those stocks into a fund and then offer those funds via a stock to their customers like you and I. So if you wanted to invest heavily in technology, but you didn't want to go buy your own Tesla and Apple and Square and do your own research, you can buy an ARK investment fund in technology where they have paid super stellar researchers going out and finding the best companies to invest in, and you invest in their ETFs. They put your money in those stocks accordingly, and you profit from the overall general performance of all of those stocks combined. So that's what an ETF really does. So when you consider Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, it's not the standard. It's new. We're still in the very early stages of adoption. So a lot of people are scared, skeptical. They don't know what to do. Heck, their kids know more about it than they do. So this would provide a very stable, secure in their own mind and way of functioning vehicle to get into cryptocurrency, something that it's familiar. It's something it's status quo, something they use all the time. They being me, even. I have ETFs, and although I wouldn't necessarily invest in an ETF fund, if I had the opportunity to invest directly in crypto, it's just a better route to take. Having that opportunity is wonderful, especially if you have like a 401k account or a Roth IRA or something where you can actually choose what investment your capital goes into. So for example, I have a Fidelity account and I have retirement accounts and Roth IRA accounts, whatever. And some of those accounts, like a brokerage or a Roth IRA, I have the choice of what I invest in. So I have investments in GBTC, which is the Grayscale fund, Bitcoin exposure, which allows me to invest some of my retirement money or my pre-tax money into cryptocurrency. It's wonderful. The nice thing about it is that from a technical standpoint, people aren't intimidated because this is something they're very, very familiar with. They don't have to remember anything about public or private keys, digital wallets, or anything like that. This is just something that they're used to doing, something they're used to dealing with, and it's very familiar. As we noted earlier, Canada has launched their first 3 ETFs, and the price has been going up. I looked at them briefly today, and they've been accepted, and a lot of people are investing in them. So the only thing I can think is that once they finally launch in the United States, they're going to go gangbusters, and there's going to be a ton of money pouring in, especially if we're still in a bull market when it happens. And you could argue that Bitcoin will probably be in a bull market for the foreseeable future, meaning many, many years. And we'll get to that point a little bit later on too. I mentioned the Grayscale investment vehicle. It's offered through financial institutions like Fidelity, and Grayscale is a financial entity that owns probably the most Bitcoin of any financial institution. They've been buying Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies like it's been going out of style for many, many years. I first bought into the GBTC fund, which is the Bitcoin fund, in 2017, and it promptly dropped to like $3,000. So I just sat on it until this current bull run where I've been excited about actually making a profit. But it's great exposure. There's some limitations in the sense that it trades on a premium at this current time, which means that you're paying a little bit more for it than you would be normally if you bought it directly. And they do charge you a 2% fee, but you do get exposure to a ton of different coins because they have the GBTC, which is a Bitcoin fund. They have ETHE, which is the Ether fund or Ethereum fund, Chainlink, Litecoin. They had XRP until it was delisted, but that will come back hopefully very, very soon, hopefully before the altcoins take off. So if you do have retirement accounts in an investment firm, look into it. GBTC, and if you're looking at blue chip cryptos like Bitcoin and Ether or Ethereum, it's great exposure to get in and to hold long term to build profits. The upside is tremendous, and I've known a lot of people who've made a substantial amount of money investing in those funds. So if you have the opportunity, look into it, at least until the ETFs come along. I also learned, just for a pointer, that once ETFs are approved, Grayscale will convert all of their funds into ETFs, thus dropping the 2% fee and ridding yourself of the premium. So it'll be a good day when that happens as well. Okay, I wanted to ask and see, does anybody think alt season is here yet? Is it here yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? People say yes, people say no. I think we've started, but this is not like light the rocket candle and let it go off. It's just been a really slow start with a big drop in the beginning. And I wanted to share this chart with you because it has to do with an indicator. And some people don't really understand exactly what alt season is. Alt season is when this euphoric feeling hits investors with regards to cryptocurrency outside of Bitcoin, or it's really outside of Bitcoin is an altcoin. Even Ethereum is considered an altcoin. And they see that the price of Bitcoin has stagnated or started to drop, and they see out of the corner of their eye the prices of all these altcoins like XRP and Monero and Cardano and Polkadot and Ethereum start to go up, and they pull their money out of Bitcoin and they start stashing it into these altcoins. And when that happens, a giant tidal wave of money comes in and the price starts to go up dramatically, extremely fast, sometimes hundreds and thousands of %. So the opportunity to make money in an alt season is spectacular. I've been through one, and you will not believe the percentage gains that you see. Look back at historical charts, and those are real. Those are real prices that come out. So take a look at your history and really try to understand what the opportunities are. Not every coin performs the same way historically. Some coins aren't even around that were around in 2017, 18. But as a general rule, it's a great way to invest in alts. Now, I will tell you this, and this is not financial advice, but just an old dog who's been around the block a couple of times. The time to invest heavily and make life altering profits in this alt season came last March during the initial COVID invasion when the prices of crypto dropped to the floor. If you got in and bought your altcoins at that point in time, you've already made a substantial amount of money. And once the official alt season is underway, you will be sitting back smoking a cigar and sipping a Mai Tai out in Maui. So that's just how it normally works. In the next market, we'll talk about getting in a lot sooner, what coins that we look at to get in, why. But for the time being, there's still money to be made. There's still huge upsides in these altcoins, and that's where the alt season is going to be coming from. Now, the thing I want to point out in this chart has to do with Bitcoin and its market dominance. So there's a line going across at about, I want to say it's about 49.2 or something like that. And there's a funnel that's outlined by two white lines, and it says expectation. We're in that funnel right now. We're at the purple line that's going close to that horizontal white line. That white line represents the 50% or so mark where Bitcoin dominance drops below that 50% and altcoins start to dominate Bitcoin. Once we drop below that line, that is a confirmed takeoff point that alt season is underway. We are very, very close, but we just can't seem to get there. I wanted to show you another chart here, and this is historically speaking. So if we can look back at 2017, the funnel looks the same, exactly the same. And look where the funnel ends. The funnel ends right when Bitcoin dominance drops below that 50% mark. And all of a sudden, altcoins, which are all the colored charts below that, start to spike and go up, indicating that altcoin season has arrived and people were making tremendous gains. So again, this isn't a leading indicator that alt season is here. We're partaking, it's underway. And in fact, we're in a really slow start underway position right now. But once we see Bitcoin drop below that line, it's everybody to battle stations. And I'll be sure to let you know when we get to that point. I'll actually let you know before we get to that point via some other indicators. But I just wanted you to be aware that that's what that's all about. So just to point this out and to reiterate, what's kind of going on with Bitcoin, because I think the reason we haven't broken through that line and we're stuck in this purgatory is several fold. First of all, we're not operating on historical levels because of all of the institutional investing that has been coming into the market. It's skewed a lot of the historical data, and it's made it very, very hard to find correlations to what's happening now versus what's happened in the past. But what I can say is that if you look at this chart, there's an arrow here as well showing the dramatic dip that we had, but more importantly, where we have a support line that's down below. And again, we're looking at this $52,000 mark. I think, and this is my personal opinion, and I've read a lot of articles to this effect as well, that there's a lot of FUD or misinformation that's being pushed out into the market. And there's actually a crypto channel called Altcoin Daily, and he did a little investigating of somebody who investigated some of these articles that are coming out and who is behind the articles and why they were written. And just an example, an article saying Bitcoin price crashing, $300 million leaves the market, the sky is falling kind of thing. Well, he investigated, where that story came from and who ran that company, who was on the board of directors. And it turned out that the guy who was on the board of directors was an owner of a company who actually was heavily invested in Bitcoin and underlying fundamental support companies. So it would benefit him greatly for the price of Bitcoin to go down so that they could actually come in and scoop up a lot more Bitcoin at a much better price. So I do think that there's manipulation just like there is in an election or anything else. You can You can get people to do what you want them to do by feeding the information that they need to make those decisions. So be careful about what you read. Do some fact checking. Make sure that you understand a consensus view, what's really happening in the market, what's really going on. If you've invested your hard-earned money, you want to make sure that you know what's really happening before you make any kind of knee-jerk emotional reaction based on something like a story that you read. Even if it comes out on CNBC or Fox News or, you know, nightly news with whoever's doing the nightly news now. So just be careful about the FUD or the misinformation. We're probably going to stay in this consolidation phase that's in the mid 50s for quite some time. And hopefully we'll see a breakout, I would probably think within the next 2 weeks or so. But this is what we're going to be in for a while, so enjoy it. Okay, let's do a review. Bitcoin remains in a consolidation phase, which we've been babbling on about, or I've been babbling on about. Mid 50s is where we're going to stay for a while. Can enjoy the time to take a step back and look at your risk mitigation, your exit points for any positions you may have, or you may be looking to pick up. Hopefully, you picked up the altcoins when we had the big dip. The word on the street is Bitcoin ETFs are coming to the United States. However, we don't have a time frame. My guess would be sometime over the summer. I think it'll move pretty quickly. I've already read that there's legislation through the Biden administration that's dealing with cryptocurrency and crypto assets. So we should see a settlement in the SEC case against Ripple very soon. I think that'll be ruled in favor of XRP or Ripple. And at that point in time, Ripple will rip, basically. And this isn't financial advice either, but my target sell price for my first sell is about $11. And that puts it at a cool, a nice profit margin. Plus it's not an excessive market cap that would constitute something crazy. So for example, if somebody says XRP is going to $55, that's probably not going to happen. Why? Well, that would be a market cap of more than $2 trillion, which is the total crypto market cap as it stands today. I don't see that happening. So realistically speaking, $11 would be a very nice, tidy top to roll in on. So anyway, we'll talk about that later on too, as far as exit strategies and pricing goes for the cryptos that I own. Alt season is still gaining fuel for the final blast off. As we've talked about, it's just been a slow climb out of the hole. And as soon as we drop below that Bitcoin dominance flips, we're going to see the rocket ship take off. And supports and ceilings are slowly losing definition. And what I mean there is that there's a lot of misinformation coming into the market. The market participation isn't always driving exactly what's happening to the price. So I think that'll continue to keep it in that meandering point in the mid 50s for some time, but eventually the pressure is going to force Bitcoin to break out either to the upside or to the downside in a very violent way. And the end will be very positive for everybody once we get through that turmoil. But it's coming. It's just taking a little bit longer. Always be aware of scammers. They're out there looking for your identity. I just got a notification today from a company I bought a saw blade from. I'm building a garage or workshop or barn or something like that in the back of my house. And I bought this super special bandsaw blade from this company, and I got a notification that their site was hacked and my credit card information was stolen, and I need to contact my credit card company and change my credit card number. So they're out there, they're dealing with this every single day. Be vigilant and always be aware. Never give any personal information to anybody for any reason unless you know exactly what you're doing. And in closing, as always, winners never quit and quitters never win. Always give your very best effort to overcome the challenges that you face in life. I hope you had a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.